Riva Pandya. I am deal with the topic of Second Coming by W.B. Yeats. These are my personal information about author. William Butler Yeats was born in 13th June 1865 and died in January 1939. He was an Irish poet and he was foremost figure of 20th century literature. He was driving force behind Irish literary revival and became a pillar of the Irish literary establishment who helped to found the Abel Theatre and in his later years served two terms as a senator of Irish Free State. About the poem Second Coming. Second Coming was written by W.B. Yeats in 1990 in the Dial, November 1920. The published in the magazine of Dial, uh, published in 1920, including in his 1921 collection of verses Michael Roberts and the Dancer. The poem uses Christian imagery regarding the apocalypse and the second coming. Allegory describes the atmosphere of post-war Europe. It is considered major work of modernist poetry and has been reprinted in several collections, including the Norton Anthology of Modern Poetry. This is the poem. Here in the second line, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Falcon is used as a metaphor, which means is the one who can control. In a pandemic, we can connect with this idea with the pandemic, the government or the coronavirus, the control ourselves and in the context of the war between Russia and Ukraine, the soldiers of Russian and Ukrainian are controlled by their leaders or their dictators. Says the summary of the poem. The second coming in today's context, as we all know, that we all are going through two major events of our time. That one is Corona pandemic, and second is Russia-Ukraine war. Pandemic reading of the second coming, as it is mentioned in the poem, the things are fall apart. So we can observe that the things are fall apart during the corona pandemic, and it can be seen that because of virus everything is fall apart. Its struggle is done by the medical practitioner, but that not done perfectly fine. The blood dim tight it's loose. In the context of pandemic, we can say that the wise people is wearing a mask and the worst are roaming outside. But it is opposite in the context of war that worst people do not support the war heroes or it can be seen that corona pandemic and the Russia Ukraine war are quite opposite contest. Surely some revelation in hand, the second coming is at hand. This is very appropriate line related to pandemic because when more numbers of people are passed away, the people thought that this is the birth time of some extraordinary man who can control all the things. That is why the more number of people are become spiritual at the time of pandemic. They are waiting for the second coming of God. Reading of second coming with the context of war. As we all know that nowadays there is a war between Russia and Ukraine. This poem also written during this First World War. So I try to cover with the context of war. As it is written in the third line that everything is falls apart In this line is very true in today's time because of war. There is many because of war. There is many lives people. Many things are disturbed a lot. It also affected the lives of soldiers and their families are broken. So this line is quite reliable with the context of war. Ceremony of innocence can be drawn. This line suggests that there is no chance become so innocent in the atmosphere of war. If the soldiers become innocent, they might be punished by their government. So innocence is valueless in this time. So it might be possible that Ukrainians were waiting for the second coming of Jesus and they were also waiting for the situation becomes normal. These are my resources. Thank you.
So, Hirva, my question to you is,
Wait
uh,
a minute.
Huh? Yes. See some network which there are so many networks now. So either borrow network from your friend, ask them to make a Wi-Fi zone, and connect with your Wi-Fi. So there are ways to do. Find a way instead of giving an excuse that there is a network issue. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me
Yes.
unmute my mic.
Ask your question. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Himanshi is asking.
um,
Because
so
see the login also is not yours there. So if it seems like Amisha is asking the question now, when it goes live, and if somebody is going to watch video after a couple of years, they won't know who is Amisha and who is Himanshi. So that's what we are trying to see. That you don't see only at this moment, but see in a larger perspective what we are doing. Okay. Yes. Ask your question.
Hirva, my question is, you compare both the Ukraine-Russia war and the second coming. So, do you find gave similarities between both? So, do you find any changes or any difference between that both the situation?
Yes, sir, there is a difference between the both the situation because in Russia-Ukraine war, there is people hope that second coming is. It is not clear that people is hoping. It is my point of view that people is hoping. Ukrainians are hoping that the second coming is done. Second coming is the God. Second coming of God is done, but this is not quite true that this is not it is my point of view. This is not Ukrainians are hoping uh, this.
Yes,
Okay.
Hirva.
Yeah. Next. Just a minute. Yes. Now ask.
Yes, you described the second coming the and the concept of the pandemic. So, how second coming describe the atmosphere of the pandemic?
Because when the Yeats was written wrote the poem, the Spanish flu is going on. In in this time, in that time, the poem was written. The Spanish flu and pandemic are quite similar kind of thing.
Okay. So that was the last one.